Starting from scratch on social media can feel like a monumental undertaking, but keep in mind, we all started with 0 followers at one point or another, so follow along. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete social media marketing plan for starting from scratch.
Well, hey there, and welcome to Pro Church Tools, the show to help you share the message of Jesus while we navigate the biggest communication shift in 500 years. I'm your host, Alex Mills, joined as always by Brady Shearer.
Got a DM recently, Alex, from a person in Pro Church Nation saying, okay, my church, we finally gotten to the point where we're ready to dive into social. Hey,
Okay.
we know it took a little while.
That's
but
okay.
We're ready.
I have these kinds of conversations every week, too.
About coffee?
Nope. I do have conversations about people saying, hey, Alex,
I've heard of this coffee thing. I think I might want to try a cup.
Unrelated question here. Can you get me set up with coffee for our church? Be like, yes, I can. No, but conversations from people who are saying like, hey, we're just starting an Instagram account, or hey, we're just starting a new Instagram account for our youth ministry or something. Where do we start? Because, you know, a lot of us, especially digital natives like ourselves, you know, we've been on Instagram for almost 10 years at this point. But some of our churches are just getting on board and just starting. There's no shame in that. And I'm sure some of these things we're going to talk through right now are going to help you get started from scratch.
Whether you are getting on social for the very first time, starting on a new platform for the very first time, or starting, you think like, okay, we need to like restart this because we have an account, but we're not really using it. All of this is applicable. Steps to start from scratch, do it the right way. First, leverage your existing audience. You as a church have an unfair advantage versus every other organization out there virtually. Think about an influencer that wants to be an influencer.
Okay.
They're not yet an influencer, but they're ready to influence.
Okay.
They have to start from zero and find ways, tricks, hacks, ways to get people to follow them who don't know them at all. You as a church already have people coming to you every single weekend to listen to what you have to say. And so I cannot stress this enough because churches sometimes have a woe is me attitude towards life is so hard. But this is one place where you have a massive unfair advantage. When I was starting on social, and I was Brady Shearer, and I was like,
who's Brady Shearer?
I'm going to teach you about video announcements. Everyone was like, boo, no one cares. Y'all already have maybe like 100, 1,000, who knows how many people attending your church already. Leverage your existing audience. So
just because your follower count on a new account says 0, that doesn't mean your audience is 0. Like you said, you have an audience probably of at least 50 people, maybe 100, maybe 1,000, depending on the size of your church. So people are already listening to what you have to say. You already have that attention. You just have to move it to a different place.
Exactly. So you could run a contest. You could mention it on Sundays. We like running contests the best because it incentivizes people to take that leap. If you just announce, hey, follow us on Facebook during your announcements, it's unlikely that people are actually going to take that step because there's really no incentivization for them. Secondly, choose your platform. If you're starting from scratch, you've never done social before, you want to go with either Facebook or Instagram, depending on your age group. So if you are a youth ministry, a student ministry, it's probably going to be Instagram. If you're a church as a whole, Facebook is likely going to be the platform for you. Just keep in mind, if your church is like mostly 40 and under, I'd recommend Instagram. If it's mostly 40 and over, probably Facebook.
Most of our youth actually don't even have Facebook. And so all of our group chats, all of our conversation with these kids is all done on Instagram. And it's really cool because the group message we have with them has evolved not even just to talking about youth, but just like talking about life. Now it's just a group chat with friends. It's very cool. But something to keep in mind here, if you are a church who doesn't have a presence on social media yet and you're looking at all these platforms, you want to focus on going deep first and not wide. So
that's why I say choose a platform.
Yeah, so you don't want to just get in on every platform. I mean, you could get a username on every platform, lock it down if you want.
Estate.
Yeah, but just focus all your efforts, like Braid said, on Facebook or Instagram, depending on your audience, and focus on going deep, mastering that one platform before you go wide.
From there, you need to fill out your profile before you start publishing. We have a guide on Instagram profile hacks that we'll have linked in the YouTube description and podcast show notes. And we also have the Ultimate Church Facebook page guide on setting up your Facebook page. So we're not going to dive into, the nitty-gritty of those things, but we do have resources. So whether you're starting up on your Instagram or your Facebook, you can use those to help fill out your profile. From there, you want to determine when you should be posting. Now, normally what you would do is you would look at your unique audience, your existing followers, and how they're engaging with your current posts and say, oh, wow, when I post at like 10 a.m. on weekdays, Pro Church Nation really seems to like it. Also, afternoons is great. If I post on Sunday afternoon, no one responds. Why? Everyone's asleep.
Yeah, we're all
Church
having
is
a nap.
over.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I should have known. But thankfully, I get the feedback to make those decisions.
But only because you have that audience.
Yeah, if you're starting from scratch, you don't have that. So I looked at what Buffer recommends for this, and they have, metrics from tens of millions of social posts because they're a scheduling platform that if you're looking to start from scratch, need one, they're free, recommend them. They say the best time to post on IG when you have no followers and you're just starting out is between 5 and 6 p.m. For Facebook, between 1 and 4 p.m. And then step 5, start posting.
There you go.
If you're curious about what to post, hey, we have a social program. We'll provide all of the content for you. hello@prochurchtools.com is the email to shoot over if you are curious. You can also go to the products page on prochurchtools.com, click products, and you'll see the link to the social program there. You get unlimited customization, so you can make them unique to your church.
There you go.
But if you want to do it yourself, we also have content that'll teach you what we think is the best social media calendar for a Monday through Sunday posting schedule. And we'll have that calendar linked again in the show notes and YouTube description. And then from there, you want to measure and audit. Okay, so this is the 6th and final tip. The reason that you want to measure and audit is because Facebook and Instagram, all of social really, are amazing at giving you feedback on what you're doing. Sometimes, like in your marriage, you don't know, am I doing well?
You're not necessarily getting the feedback that you'd hope to get.
Yeah, like I can't just go into like my marriage analytics, my marriage page
Could
manager.
you imagine?
Like I would be so much better of a husband.
Oh my gosh, we need that.
Oh, I mean, you and I definitely need that.
Yes.
Like as Enneagram 1's like, and here was your report for August. You're like, oh,
Here are the areas
that's
I can
what
improve.
worked.
Yeah.
Oh, great. This is empirical
Yeah.
evidence.
See you again next month. We'll do the same time, same place, and hoping to improve.
And that would be great. It doesn't exist there. But guess what? It does exist
Sure does.
on social. You are going to get real feedback from users so you'll know what's working and what's not. We've been doing a huge deep dive into this on our @Brady Shearer, Pro Church Tools accounts.
Yeah.
We've been seeing how many of you in Pro Church Nation respond positively to like list posts, where basically we take one of the big ideas that we talk through in a 10 to 20 minute episode on Pro Church Tools, and we're condensing it down into like a single image on Instagram, and the engagement on those has skyrocketed compared to others.
Yeah.
Guess what? We're now doing more of those things because you seem to like them.
Right.
You told us what we liked, and we did more of it.
Yeah.
If only we could get that from our spouses. Other tips. That was unnecessary.
A lot of these platforms also have insights baked right into the app. So not only can you get valuable feedback from your audience, but actually from the app itself. Once you have an audience and once you start posting, you're going to be able to see, oh, my audience, like you mentioned, really responds when I post at this time.
Yes.
Or this kind of post gets shared a lot. And so those kinds of insights that are built right into apps like Facebook and Instagram are going to be helpful to set your trajectory for, okay, what is my audience responding to? What do they want more of? And how can we start providing that in the future?
Other tips for when you are starting from scratch, just rules to live by. Respond to every single interaction. Every single comment needs to be replied to by you. Every single direct message, respond. Every single time someone goes out of their way to make a comment or interaction with you, you need to reciprocate.
Yeah.
When we first launched prochurchtools.com and blog comments were a big thing, I responded to every single comment. Why? Because like 11 people read the post. If one of them went out of their way to leave a comment, I had to respond to let them know, hey, thanks so much for leaving this comment. Can I help answer any of your questions? You do want to connect through email, like whatever it might be. At scale, that isn't always possible, though here at Pro Church Tools, we have support staff that make sure, as far as we can tell, every single interaction gets responded to. Bring social posts into Sunday services. I really want to see more churches that are doing this. Often, social is siloed. It's kind of kept in its closet for just the weekday. We're not going to bring that into Sunday service. But if you're using the type of content that's generating real engagement, what's going to naturally start happening is conversations that began on Facebook during the week are going to trickle into the lobby on Sunday morning. That's going to happen organically. Like, you ask a question like, hey, would you rather have the strength of Samson or the wisdom of Solomon?
Great question.
And then a bunch of people respond, and then a bunch of the people in the comments know each other. And so then when they see each other on Sunday morning, Barbara goes up to Karen and says, I wanted the wisdom. You wanted the strength. Yeah. What's that about? And this sounds like it would never happen, but it actually happens like all the time. Does. Recognizing that that's going to be an organic transition and carryover, we think that you can actually bring that programming into your Sunday service. You can use it as examples for church announcements. In a previous episode, we talked about how, look, some people want the strength of Samson, others want the wisdom of Solomon. People are different. And the great thing is, we've got life groups for everyone here.
Yeah.
And that's a fun transition into life groups. And that's a much better way to do an announcement for a life group than to be like, if you go to our website, you can look at life groups. We have them meeting on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, Thursday at noon, Friday at noon, morning, afternoon, not Saturday. It's not exactly inspiring.
No.
Whereas bringing in a social post, telling the fun story there, and using that as a springboard to an announcement is great. And what you get to do there is you encourage people to interact on Sunday morning with the social post, which means they're more likely to interact throughout the week with social posts. People that are unaware of it then are becoming aware of it. And there's just this good, positive snowball effect.
So good.
Stay consistent when you're just getting started. It's going to be likely discouraging. Someone reached out to me recently and was like, how long have you been at it on YouTube?
Oh, forever?
And I was like, and I went into my analytics and we started the channel in 2012. It's 2019 when we're recording this episode. And I was looking at our subscriber rate and like 5 years in, we had like 10,000 subscribers. And then like 6 years in, we had like 30. And then like 7 years in now we have 60. And so there's kind of like this hockey stick curve where the growth at the beginning was very, very gradual for an online company of our size, and then suddenly it spiked at year 7.
Yeah, these are years we're talking
about. Year 5, I could have looked at it and been like, man, half a decade, and we haven't seen that much like growth specific to YouTube comparative to other things that we've done, because these things take a long time. If you want to win on social, it's a long game. You need to invest for, like, not saying this hyperbolically, a decade. This is going to be a decade-long endeavor. But if you're willing to commit to it, you're going to get better at it.
Yeah.
Like marriage.
And this is all about community, right? Like somebody could hear that and be like, okay, what does 10 years of investing in Instagram have to do with church or anything that we're trying to do? But it all has to do with community, because so much of the people who go to your church, so much of all of our lives is spent online on these phones. We don't separate church from what we're doing on our phones. And so in the same way that we are coming to church for community on Sundays, we can have community with each other connected through these devices throughout the week. And so this is just another point of ministering to people and with people, leading people into spiritual practice through Instagram. Like, I never would have thought that we could do that 5 years ago, but here we are, and there are thousands of churches that are using social media as ministry. And so this is not separate from what we're trying to do on Sundays. This is holistically part of our vision as a church, and that's why we take the time. That's why we do episodes like this, but that's why we think it's worth investing time into these platforms, because it's all about the people.
And lastly, we really want to encourage you to experiment with all of the different options and mediums that these social platforms offer you.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to look at how your audience is engaging and then give them more of what they want. But especially when you're just getting started, do not hesitate whatsoever to try. What would it be like if we went live on this platform? What if we used some GIFs? What if we used stories? What if we did, a hyperlapse? Whatever it might be. Like, try everything. Get familiar with the UI and the UX of these platforms, because you never know what might actually really resonate with your audience. I've had this happen on countless times where I was like, no, like, they don't want me to do this. And then I do it. And then they're like, oh yeah, we love this better than anything else you did. And I was like, I wish I'd done it sooner.
Yeah.
So experiment, try new things. That is how you're going to figure out, like marriage. Maybe you don't want to go on a movie night every single date night. So you try something new. Oh, rock climbing, which I've never done. Maybe
you should.
I should. Take my own advice. That'll do it for this episode of Pro Church Tools. We'll see you next time.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. See that subscribe button? It's like red. Click it. Make it gray. I don't like it when it's red.
And you see that like button? I think it's gray right now. If you click it, it'll turn blue. And I prefer blue.
Gray and blue, our favorite colors. Subscribe!